Hello everyone, I'm Yasmin Taj, Senior Editor, People Matters. Welcome to the People Matters Alight Transformation Series. Digital transformation is redefining what the workplace of tomorrow looks like. Whether it is L&D, talent acquisition, or performance management, there are varied technologies taking over HR today. While emerging technologies are disrupting the organizations faster than we can predict, what are organizations doing to stay ahead in the curve? The organizations that are at the forefront are the ones who are putting a strong focus on predicting what the future will demand and adopting the right approach to do so. Digital transformation is not just a one-off project, it is a continuous journey. With digital transformation being on the top of the agenda for many organizations, the traditional view of digital HR being just about technology is also changing. And with this, business and its ask from HR is also changing. Transformation is now a business need and businesses are pushing HR to change and take rapid decisions. With digital transformation being at the top of the agenda for many organizations, the traditional view of digital HR just being about technology is changing. And with this, business and its ask from HR is also changing. Transformation is now a business need and businesses are pushing HR to change and take rapid decisions. In order to recognize organizations that have done a path-breaking job in their digital transformation journeys, People Matters and Alight Solutions are curating a series of such journeys from organizations across Asia. These stories will help other organizations not only kickstart their own journeys, but will also help them make the right decisions and select the right approach. So without much delay, let's begin our episode with Tokopedia as we hear their inspirational digital transformation journey. Welcome to the show, Yusin and Rishi. Glad to have you here. So Yusin, I'll start with you. How is the e-commerce industry changing, especially in Indonesia, and how is it changing the asks from HR?
Okay, thank you, Yasmin. So Tokopedia is not just a marketplace company. Right now we are a technology company and we have grown our business into digital products and also financial technology businesses. Because our mission is to democratize commerce through the technology, and we have grown our business so fast that the HR team, our people team, we have to grow along together with our business.
Thank you so much. That brings me to you, Rishi. So tell me, how is the business changing and how are the demands from HR changing in these present times?
Sure. So globally, as you see, businesses across industries, they are undergoing their own transformation and changes. So there are three main things which are happening. One, the businesses are getting disrupted, and companies like Tokopedia are leading that disruption because they are a technology company and finding new ways to do things. Now, as the disruption is happening, it's leading to changes in the jobs. So jobs are getting reconfigured, new jobs are coming up which weren't there a few years ago. So that's the second change. And the third one is, because of all these changes, the expectation of talent or the consumers for HR, that is also changing. So talent is more informed, more aware, they want things more faster, easily available. So that's how businesses are undergoing changes. Now, as this is happening, there was a survey we had done a few years ago with the CEOs in Asia, and we asked them what are the outcomes they are expecting from HR. So there were 5 key things which came out. First one was business wants HR to actualize the culture in the organization, which is keeping everyone honest with what culture the organization should drive. That's one. Second was, how can HR future-proof the business on the capability side? So how does HR look at skills, capabilities, existing, external, and how do you prepare the organization from a future point of view? Third was, how do you look at the aspirations and expectations of the employees? And how does HR ensure that we are taking care of those and working towards that? Fourth was, how can HR create a high performance culture? Because that's what, once you build that, it leads to your higher engagement, obviously ROIs and performance. And the last one was, which is in fact one of the most important, is how can HR influence the change to bring all of this together to survive in the disruptive market.
So as HR thought of delivering to that agenda, how did the thought of talent management and technology converge?
The growth of Tokopedia from 2017, we are 1,000 employees, and we're growing already 3 times since 2016. At the first of 2016, we have 300, 2017 at 1,000, 3 times growth within a year. And even if we use the the traditional ones, how can we keep up with our businesses? We see that the business is growing very fast, and we want to make sure that every our nakama, what we call of our employee, they have a great journey. We want them to have a great experience throughout the end-to-end of nakama journey. From they start applying to Tokopedia, they start on onboarding in Tokopedia, they work day to day in Tokopedia, even up until they do the offboarding in Tokopedia. And for that experience, end-to-end experience, to have the great experience, we want to make sure that all helped by the technology. Because if we use the traditional one, with the growth of our employee, everything will be paper, and it will be very painful for our nakama to have that. Yes.
So tell me, as a unicorn company, at what point did you realize that you have to kickstart your digital transformation journey?
When we have grown up to 1,000, at the first January of 2017, that's when we realized.
Okay, and that's when you started?
Yes, because we want to make sure that if we have grown more, bigger and bigger, with those numbers growing, at 2018 we already 2,000, 2019 we already 3,200. Well, we are, yes, that's why we understand that we need to find something that can have the end-to-end journey to be catered by the technology, so everything will be easy for our employee to use.
So how did you identify the processes that had to be evolved? Can you name some 5 processes that you actually identified that you go step by step and take your transformation journey ahead?
Okay, as I mentioned also before, that our process, we want to make sure that from someone applying to Tokopedia, and then they do the onboarding in Tokopedia, they also do the the day-to-day process, and especially of course in the performance and talent management, when we want to make sure that they are growing in Tokopedia, and also up until the end on the offboarding. Those are the main focus that we want to make it simple, make it better in a comprehensive way.
So you have done all these 5, all these steps have been transformed digitally already?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So tell me about, how did you go about selecting your partners? Because you need to get a partner on board to have this journey started, right? So what was your thought process behind selecting a partner, and how did you go about it, and how did you come up to finalizing the partner?
Okay, so when we start, thinking that, we have grown so big, and what kind of system that can cater our needs, we have 3 criteria. The first one is the accessibility. With those so many big employees, we want to make sure that they have the easy accessibility, that they can access anytime and anywhere. Second is the infrastructure. With that growth of the employee, we want to make sure the system is up 99.9%, even if we can 100%, that anytime they can use. The third one especially is about the adaptability to the business. Because in here, if we want to cater with the business, tomorrow we must change. Because if not, everyone will not have the best experience, and we don't want people to say that, hey, please wait for the changes, we need to develop this for another 6 months, 9 months. It cannot be like that. Tomorrow we have to change. So on that part, on those 3 criteria, we select on the best of the best, and then we check again on the 3 criteria that they all have all those criteria that we need.
So, and then you selected Alight, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's nice. That brings me to you, Rishi. So when Tokopedia came up to you with their problem solutions, what approach did you take, and how did you go about it?
Okay, so for us, while the project was to implement Workday, HCM and finance for Tokopedia, but we looked at it with a different lens of not just being an technology implementation company, but more about how do we really help Tokopedia achieve its objective of transformation and the whole experience for the users. And then that's what we came up with our engagement with the Tokopedia team from day one was about how do we advise them on what's best for them, rather than just take instructions for them and go about doing the implementation. So it was more of a interactive sessions where we heard them out if we felt there were some processes where things can be done better. So that was advised and agreed upon. And the core theme across this whole implementation journey was about employee at the center of all of this and the employee experience that was getting generated. So whatever we were doing was keeping in mind that the experience from the employee is the main thing. Whatever they have to do has to be easy. It should be informed, supported, personal to the employee. So that was the whole core focus on how we went about this implementation.
Nice. So how has this partnership changed things for you especially?
Yeah, as also Rishi mentioned that it's not just about implementing, but it's also advising. My experience with them is the best because when we do the development, it's not just I'm just instructing how to make the development, but again, we discover things that, oh, if we want to do this in the system, what is the best practice? What can we do in the system? And I got a lot of help from Alight that gave me an advice how to make it better, and especially again because we have the same focus on our employee experience, that we see that if we do this, what kind of employee experience that will happen, and if not, what will changes. So with all those focus, I see that it is a very good experience for Tokopedia to work together with Alight, developing on the Workday.
So tell me about the roadblocks and challenges you must have faced in your entire transformation journey, and how did you overcome them?
Yes, on the challenge, there are two big challenges, and especially the first one is the data cleansing, because we don't have data from the manual through the system. We need to have an adjustment, and secondly about the understanding about the business process itself. And I got a really help from the Alight team to understand how do we clean the data and how do we cope with our business process from the manual into the system. Because we have to change not just from the business process of the manual, but how to make the change management. Before we do paper, now it's paperless. Before we need to come to the people team, to our floor, but the next step after that, we don't need to come to the people team. They just need to access from their mobiles or even from their desktop, and it can be applied. So all those change management, it is not just the work from Tokopedia, but we get a lot of help from Alight.
So my final question to you, Yusin, is how successful do you think you've been on this digital transformation journey, and any metrics that you've used to measure the success?
Okay, so for the successful, we are still starting, because again, digital transformation is a big journey. Right now we are starting from the manual throughout the start of our core, but it's still ongoing process that we want to improve again on our talent, on our performance management, on how we have our people development to have the system. And again, if you are asking about the successful, we have our Voice of Nakama. It is our employee survey, and we see that they keeps growing and going better because we have better services to our employee, that they feel that this is a better experience for them to work as an employee in Tokopedia.
Okay, thank you so much, Yusin. Thank you so much, Rishi, for sharing such inspirational stories with us. I'm sure the organizations who watch this will get inspired to kickstart their journeys as well. So thank you once again for joining us today. And thank you everyone for watching us today. In order to watch more such inspirational stories, do keep watching the People Matters Alight Transformation Series. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.